The mic is open once again. I'm Alan Hoshida, and this week we bring in Drew Remenda, Sharks color commentator, Sharks analyst on NBC Sports California. He'll be with you all 76 games that will be on TV in the Bay Area. He's been with the Sharks on and off. He's come back. He's been with the team for pretty much from the start, so he knows it very well. We're going to look at the roster makeup over this offseason, but also the biggest news, the arena deal, the lease agreement that's now extended and agreed upon through 2051. The Sharks are not going anywhere, so we're going to start the conversation there. We're going to talk about his suits. Man always looks impeccable. He has his pregame routine when it comes to ironing, setting him out. You're going to hear that. We'll go into the world of wrestling because he loves wrestling like I do. We'll talk about that. And of course, dad advice. And he gets super honest, super authentic with what he says to me when it comes to being a dad. And I fully appreciate that. It's a great conversation. Can't wait for you to hear it. So let's get to it. Drew Remenda, thank you so much for joining me here on The Mic is Open. We are getting ready for a start of another, should be exciting and a better Shark season, we all hope. So that's why we want to catch up with you about a month out, getting ready. Before I go there, before we get into Sharks though, we start this podcast. The mic is open. The mic is open, my friend. Anything you need to get off your chest.
That is so dangerous with me. You know that I've been with the Sharks. This is my fourth go-around with the Sharks, mainly because I couldn't keep my mouth shut, and I did try to get things off my chest. Greg Jameson, who was one of our presidents way back in the day, he once told me after a little disagreement on how I broadcast a certain situation. He brought me into the office the next day, and he said, he voiced his critiques and his concerns. And I said, yeah, but Greg, I was right. I was 100% correct. It happened like I said it was going to happen. Yeah. And he went, Drew, just because you're right doesn't make you bulletproof. So that's all I'm going to say is, yes, there's a lot of things on my mind. There's a lot of things on my plate as far as my opinions on things. But I really love my job, Alan.
I do know you have an issue with the English language, which has nothing to do with like Sharks or anything like that. So I know that's out there. Pre-recorded isn't something you enjoy.
Right. You would bring up a good point. There are times when we should be really accurate with our language. And I have been accused by several people, you included, of being very literal. And you're right, I am. You cannot leave your feet when you hit somebody with a body check in hockey. You can't. It's impossible. You can jump, you can elevate, you can hop, you can leap, but you can't leave your feet. You don't get tripped up. You fall down when you get tripped. You don't get tripped up, you get tripped down. And also midair. Where is midair? Is it here? Is it here? Is it where the planes like compared to the space shuttle? Where's midair?
It's right in midair. It's
midair. You knocked it out of midair. How about you just knocked it out? Just knocked it out.
That's what you get. You get an English lesson while you're listening to San Jose Sharks hockey. And that's why everyone loves you. And that's why we like this in our production meetings. We make sure there's nothing as pre-recorded. You're recording. You're doing it like we're pre-recording, but we're not. This is all. We're all doing it. We're just doing it.
There's the other one.
Yeah.
Pre-scouting. You can't pre-scout. You're scouting. You can't pre-soak. You're soaking. You cannot anything. There's no such thing as a pre-record. We're recording. Yeah. It's the other one. Thank you for reminding me of that one. Now I'm getting all hyped up again.
Good. Now we're right in it. We got Drew warmed and ready and just in time because earlier this week, big news out of San Jose, really. San Jose and the San Jose Sharks in conjunction. The city passed the bill that keeps San Jose Sharks in not only the Bay Area, not only wherever they might be, but in San Jose till 2051. That's another 25 years. You've been there since the beginning when they're up here in the San Francisco and the Cow Palace. How big is this deal for the organization and for the city?
Well, absolutely huge. And just on a personal note, I immediately sent a note to Jonathan Becker, our president, and Scott Emmerich, my boss, that I'd like to start contract extension talks for 25 years. So I'll be 88 by the time that finishes. Kudos to Jonathan Becker and Hasso Plattner. There was a lot of concern because with the Google situation that was going to happen, and then, San Jose Sharks and SAP Center were going to be on an island eventually with what Google wanted to do. And Jonathan and Hasso did a fantastic job in negotiating those really tough waters and being able to put a plan in place that has Hasso with a significant contribution of revenue into redoing San Jose Arena where it needs to be done. You know, I remember when 91, I remember when we went through there the first time, it was like, wow, but how quickly time has passed, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of things that need to be done. And Mr. Plattner is going to be putting a lot of revenue into it. Jonathan Becker did a great job on getting the right contacts in as far as the city council goes and the mayor, and kudos to the mayor and the city council. You won't hear me say that very often. And when it comes to any place, especially where I live in Saskatoon, that they did a job that was the best thing for the city, the best thing for the community, and for us, it works out fantastic. I don't want to leave.
Yeah.
We love that place. We love San Jose. There's a lot of great memories there. There's a lot of tough ones there as well, but that makes up the sentimentality of the place. So,
the other cool thing about that is that it looks like they're looking for how to a new arena footprint, right? They're also looking to find a new space if needed to expand and upgrade the $500 million into maybe a new arena, a new location. There's a lot of things happening in that deal.
Yep, and tons of things happening. And again, we've got great leadership with the Sharks, and they're not only in the moment trying to, in the hockey department, trying to build the team and get the team back to where we are one of the best teams in the National Hockey League and going after the Stanley Cup year after year, but also in the community. Sharks Foundation does a great job, as has forever since I've been there. And also the bigger picture of the community, like you said, from the arena deal now to maybe a new arena, to Sharks Ice, to the Junior Sharks, to Tech CU, to everything that they've done to grow the game and build the community in San Jose. I mean, it's an impressive thing that they have undertaken from day one. I remember in 1991, when, like you said, at the Cow Palace, and we practiced it in Redwood City sometimes. And Bob Murdoch, the late great Bob Murdoch, who was our associate coach, Mud, was fantastic. And he kept saying, when I kept asking him, because I was 29 years old and just an idiot know-it-all from Hockey Canada, and I was like, this is the NHL? And he went, no, it's going to be. He always had faith in us, though. He said, it's going to be the NHL. He said, you just wait. And when we won our first playoff series, Bob was let go the year before. He phoned me, and he went, see? It's the NHL now. So when you look at what happens on the ice and what happens in the community, certainly those things are linked. But the Sharks have always had that big picture in mind when it comes to what's best for San Jose, not just what's best for the Sharks.
And I think soon enough, the NHL will be reminded that San Jose is a great hockey town when things start turning. And so the arena deal and the new lease probably is the biggest offseason acquisition if we're looking big picture, right? But Mike Greer and his company and his team, they got to work. And they've added a bunch when it comes to a veteran experience. Over 5,000 games. We're going to hear it a lot as we lead up to the season, 5,000 games of experience. For you as a coach, when you see what he did and what is building for Coach Warsofsky, what do you notice?
Well, number one, with Mike Greer coming in, he's had a plan. He and his hockey operations staff since day one have had a plan. From what I understand, Mike was the guy that when he came in for the job interview was very open and honest about what needed to happen, what the Sharks had as far as talent, as far as pipeline and development. Exactly. He was very, 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 very honest. And sometimes that's tough to hear. But he had a plan on how to fix it. And he has done that month after month, day after day, you name it. He is making that plan come to fruition. Mm-hmm. Now, the plan is always, as I think Dan Rosnowski said it, the plan's written in ink, but the process is in pencil, right? There's a lot of changes that come and happen. Lots of things happen. But what I see is uber focused on where they need to be and what they need to do in order to get there. I've always appreciated Mike being, like, he's a very quiet guy, as you know. Mm-hmm. He's tough to sit down and get an interview. We'll talk about a bunch of things, but very little is it as far as You want to keep, cards close to the vest.
Yeah.
He keeps them in the back pocket hidden, and you're not going to be able to ever, you don't even know there's cards.
Yeah.
But he is certainly, and he and his staff, because he's got a fantastic staff, they have done a very good job on progressing this team forward. Think about where we were when the Sharks hired him to where we are now, to what everybody's saying across the league as far as the youth and the talent that we have and the development system we have. I think we were 32nd in development when he took over, and now we're close to number one.
Number one, new one came out today from the Athletics. Number one in the pipeline, so it's pretty much across
the pipeline's awesome. I get to do those games with Nick Nolenberger when I get the chance. I love doing the CUDA games. They're fun to watch because the guys, you can see that there's talent there. You can see the plan is blooming. Mm-hmm. So when I look at what Mike has done and that hockey operations staff, from a coaching point of view, I can rest assured that this guy is trying to help us out. He's trying to give me, if I'm a coach, if I'm Ryan Morsowski, he's trying to give me the best chance to succeed. As a coach, you hear that all the time, right? Mm-hmm. I'm putting this guy in the place that gives the best chance to succeed. Like, I'm not going to put Macklin Celebrini on a third line checker, right? No. Put him at the top because that's his best chance to succeed. So the same thing is happening from the coaching staff, for the coaching staff right now with the players they're getting.
Yeah. And that was a huge thing that I noticed too, is that when they brought up guys, they weren't putting them in roles that, maybe 10 years ago in the NHL, that's how they come in third line, fourth line, they got to battle their ways. Like, that doesn't help Macklin Celebrini, Will Smith become who they need to become. You have to give them top line minutes. You got to give them power play minutes. So they're trusting that process. But you said something, and I asked Jammer about this as well. When you go inside the dressing room, does it make the coaches' lives easier now that they have that much veteran presence in that dressing room, that Macklin, Will, Luca Cagnoni, Sam Dickinson, Shakir can lean on now, and it doesn't have to be the voices coming from – it's just like a parent, right? Like, you don't want to keep hearing it from your dad or your mom, but if your buddy's mom or dad tells you that, then you're like, oh, I got to listen. So is it something like that too?
100%. It gets to the point where, and I've said this before, and a former coach told me, I was still coaching, told me this. It can't be about the guy behind the bench. Mm-hmm. It's got to be about you and me. Jamie Baker always said it. And in our third year, when Bakes first joined us, and that was the team that made the playoffs after having 11 wins the year before, Bakes said that the most powerful thing in that room was the want of not wanting to let the guy beside you down. Hmm. They got to a point, we did a lot of pushing the boulder up the mountain. We were Sisyphus for a while, sometimes it would roll back down. And so we would keep pushing as coaching staff. We put the foundation in place for work ethic, for preparation, and then the guys took over. And then when it happened, it was honestly, Alan, magical. Mm-hmm. One of the best times of my life. It was one of the hardest times from a work standpoint, from a workload standpoint that I had, but it was one of the best because you saw the guys say at one point, we got it. We got this. And really after that, there was very little we had to do as coaches besides, make sure we were doing our jobs because we knew they were doing theirs. And that only comes from veteran leadership. And we had Igor Larionov, we had Sergei Makarov, we had Todd Ellick, we had Jeff Norton, we had Bakes, we had Gaetan Duchesne. We had a lot of great veteran guys who wanted to prove something and believed in each other. And I think we're getting that with the San Jose Sharks. When I look at the guys that the Sharks have from a veteran standpoint, proven winners, guys that you said, multitude of games. And a coach's job is to instill and help build the identity of a team. But the culture of the team is different from the identity of the team. The identity of the team is how they play. And they have to have something where everybody can do it, right? We're going to be a hard forechecking team. We're going to be a physical team. We're going to be a team that plays smart off the puck. Those things all are guys, every guy can do that. You can't just say, well, we're going to outscore the opposition because not everybody can score. But culture, holding each other accountable, preparing properly, making sure that before you get to the rink, you're ready to go. living, breathing, eating, sleeping, everything you do, culture, building towards a winning team, not only holding each other accountable, but being positive with each other, helping each other. That comes from the guys. That comes from within the room. Coaches can't do that. Management can't do that. That's the guys in the room that are able to build that. And that, again, comes from those veteran guys. And so you got Macklin Celebrini, you got Will Smith, you got Colin Graff, you got Shakir, you've got Yarrow, you've got all those guys looking at these veteran guys going, oh, okay. I used to say, the great Nico Sturm, who, as you know, I'm still president of his fan club. If you ever wanted to learn how to be an NHLer on a day-to-day basis, watch number 7.
Yeah.
Everything he does, the preparation that goes into every single thing. So Jammer would know better than anybody because Jammer's been in that room as a player, being one of those guys who learned from the veterans, but then also became a veteran and helped grow a culture.
Yeah.
So for a coaching staff and for the Sharks young players, it's invaluable to have those guys.
Nico Sturm, no, to your point, only guys go back to the same organization again if he makes a lasting impression, right? You don't go back to the same place if they didn't like you. So that's to your point. Yeah. Nico Sturm is a professional, pros pro. Sharks probably kicked the tires on bringing him back as well because everyone loved him and what he did as well. So Macklin and Will now have some more veteran presence. Tyler Toffoli's been there. That culture, we talked about it all last year. For a team that was at the last place team in the league for pretty much the whole season, they had a great culture. And they were joking with each other, but they put the hard hat on. They did and pushed as hard as they could. And after losses, as they mounted up, they were pissed. So it wasn't like they were just having a great time and we're the worst team in the league. They were trying to build that culture where they're relying on one another. And I think now that's how you carry into this season. You keep building on that. Macklin and Will, we can talk about ad nauseum about what they did last year. But now what have you done for me lately? And so what do they need to do for you lately here to make that next step in their careers and really take full control of the San Jose Sharks?
Well, as we've seen, we saw it in Chicago last year. Connor Bedard, who's a hell of a player. They had a great rookie of the year, and then didn't have a very good year last year. And got a lot of criticism for it. The second year is tough because you're not sneaking up on anybody anymore. The novelty's off.
Yeah.
What I would like to see them do more than anything is stay with that passion that they have. This game, life, it can kick the hell out of you. It can get to a point where it's like, oh, here we go again. No matter what the win-loss record says, and I do 100% believe it will be a better win-loss record than last year. But these guys are used to winning all the time. These guys are used to being the best all the time. And sometimes after losses mount, which we see every team go through, keep that fire, keep that passion. You've seen them in the hallway, those knuckleheads, playing that soccer game and breaking ceiling tiles and kicking it off our door as loud as they can. And then dad comes out and looks at them and they go, what are you talking?
Ding dong ditch.
Yeah, exactly. It's like ding dong ditch. Keep that youthful exuberance, that energy, because that really fueled our team last year. Guys were on the bench and they would laugh at these two knuckleheads. But when it came down to game time, it was serious. Yeah. One thing I remember, we're in, where were we? Can't remember. Oh, Washington. So I was, come down to the bench interview on the road, right? So I'm sitting in the hallway like I usually do because I'm down there early and I'm looking in the dressing room and the rap music is playing and I don't know who it is. And, you've got Will, Tyler, and Macklin. Tyler's in the middle. And this music's going and Will and Macklin are having a groove and they're chirping each other and they're chirping it at Tyler. And for a second there, I saw Tyler just think to himself, how old am I? And he just gave one of those. But then he starts laughing again. There was a great fight. There was a great chemistry with those guys. I want to see that chemistry explode through the team, but I want to see those two guys keep that fire, that passion, that fact that it's a game.
Yeah.
When I was assistant coach, it was one of my favorite things ever. Kevin Constantine used to send us in every once in a while because he was worried that the players got sick and tired of hearing about him or hearing it from him.
Yeah.
So we were playing Winnipeg and we were leading after the first period, but we didn't play very well. And so Kevin goes, go in and talk to him. And I'm 30 at this time, 31 years old at this time. And I go in and I said, what do you want me to talk to him? He goes, talk about work ethic. They're not working worth it. Crap. And I went, all right. So I walk in and went, guys. And then as soon as they saw me walk in, I was like a coach's guy, right? I mean, they see me walk in and be like, whatever.
Yeah.
And I go, sorry, guys, no, really sorry. I got to talk to you. I'm upstairs. I'm sending the stuff down and I'm thinking, but one thing I see from up there, we're not working. We're not working for the puck. We're not working in the corner. We're not working to get on the forecheck. We're not working when we have the puck to get open. We're not working here and we're not working there. Igor Lariano goes, Drew. You don't work hockey. You play hockey. And everybody laughs. I'm like, oh, for sakes, Igor, because he blows me right out of the water. I went, well, just go play better then. Then I walked out. Everybody laughed, everything else. But it brings you to a point. You got to have fun coming to the rink. It's still a game. You got to enjoy coming to the rink. And last year, even though the guys were losing, they were pissed, but they loved being around each other. They enjoyed coming to the rink. So keep that fire, keep that heart, keep that joy about playing the game that you love.
Uncle Toph, man, he's in the center of everything. Milk and cookies, that's still going. I saw that they went on vacation and the hotel gave him milk and cookies and everything. And I'm also surprised we haven't seen shirts that say, you don't work hockey, you play hockey. I don't know why that has not caught on. I think we need to work on that too. And to your point, we're going to have it'll be here for a couple more years, no matter how good this team becomes. And now that question, that youthful insurgent, another couple teenagers that's of top of mind here as we look into training camp, is Sam Dickinson, who's already signed his entry level, so he's only going to juniors if he comes back. But he was wearing all teal gear in London when he went back. That was just posted to the internet here. Not even wearing any London Knights stuff. He's not in the London Knights lineup at all as they open the season. So just a little caveat if I'm doing my investigative reporting. Michael Misa, though, is another story. He hasn't signed his entry level. He could hypothetically go other routes. There's NCAA. He could go back to juniors. Until he signs that deal, we do not know for sure what the future holds for Michael Misa. We do know his intention is to make the team. So now we're talking about two teenagers last year. Can the Sharks carry two more teenagers this year and be a successful team?
Yes, because of the guys they brought in to help them out that we just talked about. To the veteran players that are there. The veteran players that the Sharks have brought in and the veteran players the Sharks have, you can't ask for better people. You can't ask for better individuals, people of character. Mario Ferraro, Tyler Toffoli, Barclay Goodrow, go on and on. These guys are top-notch, not only hockey players, but individuals, people. You love them. And they know what they have to do as far as their own jobs, but also to help out, help grow this team, help grow those players. Watching Misa play and Dickinson play, we get in Canada, get all those games on TV. So I don't know what did Misa have, 132 points last year or something like that?
130 something.
Yeah.
A lot.
I'm not sure going back to junior is going to help him that much. I would love to see him, if he doesn't make the team, go play NCAA.
Yeah.
Look at Gavin McKenna.
But he can't come to training camp if he's going NCAA, right?
That I don't know.
I'm pretty sure, because that's the thing. You don't have any NCAA guys at training camps.
Yeah. So you know what? With him, he should be coming here to make the team.
Mm-hmm.
So should Sam Dickinson. Now, watching Dickinson play, wow. This kid, London Knights are one of the best, if not the best, junior organization in Canada and the United States, in the Canadian Hockey League. He is incredible. In the Memorial Cup, he was so noticeable in a positive way. It was incredible. It was just fun to watch, and you just smiled watching him. You're like, all right, he's one of ours. He's one of ours. He's one of ours. And good. Again, both those guys, I think, yes, they can be successful because of the players they're going to have surrounding him. And they can be successful because they're both uniquely talented individuals.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. I think without a doubt, I'm really big on this Dickinson train. He's going to come to the NHL. He's never going to go back to juniors. I just don't know what you do with, like, what's the point of him going back there and putting up another 100 points? He had 90 something last year. I mean, he's on Teal gear. He's Teal gear. They announced his number. They're going full go. I don't think he's, I obviously he's going to get the 10 games or the 9 games, no matter what. World Juniors will come around. Maybe he goes to that. But I think the other thing is the Sharks need him, right? It's not like they can bring it. Like Michael Misa is another one where maybe they don't necessarily, the need isn't as high right now because of what Macklin and Will, Colin Graff, William Eklund, who barely gets a speaking part at this point because of just what he's doing.
I didn't mention Willie for credit.
But that's, so Misa, I could kind of see where they might be slow rolling a little bit, but they need Sam Dickinson. They need a mobile defenseman, big dude who's going to break pucks out because their defense still is a very big work in progress.
You got Mario, Liljegren, Orlov, Klingberg, Jack Thompson, Shakir coming off the injury and surgery. So why can't Sam play there?
Yeah,
now,
Letty,
Kenyoni.
Yeah.
Now Luke is not very big, but damn, he's a good hockey player doing those CUDA games. I mean, I think there's an opportunity for him there for sure. And I love the fact he's in Teal gear. I love the fact he's working out. I love the fact he's going to be thinking, I'm making this team. That's how you should be thinking.
Yeah, it's really cool to see. It's also something that Sharks fans will get to know is that Michael Misa and Sam Dickinson are good buddies. They're represented by the same agency. They've been going head to head for a long time. Now finally get to put on the same sweater. Hopefully it happens here in 2025, 2026, but without a doubt, they are going to be building blocks here as we move forward. So Drew, this is the mic is open. We obviously talk about the Sharks, but now we're going to put a bow on this and we're going to kind of move into more fun things. One thing that I always respected about you and loved about you, you know my story, kid growing up. I always loved your suits, and then to get to see it up close, get to see how you prepare with it. When I was first with NBC, then CSN, they were doing Shark Bite, right? And they had some segments where you go shopping with the guys and stuff like that. So I kind of knew a little bit of this stuff with both Sean Madison and Sean Day holding it down there back in the day. But where did your love for suits and that high-end, elegant fashion come from?
Probably from my dad. Dad was he played in the old Western League. He was a goaltender. But he was an electrician. He had his own business, and my brother's an electrician. My uncles are electricians. I can tell you a story about that then too. But Dad also, when I was growing up, my mom and dad had 3 kids or 4 kids. I'm sorry, we had a sister pass away. We had 4 kids by the time they were 23 years old. So he was working to get his journeyman's license, but he also worked at the Hudson Bay Company. It's a very famous old company and a department store selling clothes. So I would go visit Dad on Saturdays. I'd take the bus down and go say hi to him and whatever. And Dad was always looked pretty sharp. Now, if you look back, that's the 1960s, right? Yeah. Or 70s. You look back and go, but he was a sharp-dressed guy. So, but then as I got older, I just I grew up in the 70s and 80s. So fashion was big then. Some of the stuff I can't believe I actually wore, but I did.
Yeah.
But the suit thing really, when I became really, this is how I want to dress. James Bond. Yeah. Oh, okay. Pierce Brosnan, Sean Connery, Daniel Craig, even most recently. If you're stuck on how I should dress as a man, watch a James Bond movie. Not the George Lazenby one and Roger Daltrey.
Skip those.
Yeah, skip those. But Connery, Pierce Brosnan, even Roger Moore and Daniel Craig. Those are the ones that you want to watch. That's how you dress. My style is this. My wife says it's boring. My mom used to say, my late great mom, the great Drew Remenda, said, "Why don't you wear color?" I said, "I do wear color. Black is a color, Mom. Gray is a color." But there used to be some flash there, but then, I don't wear a lot of color lately. But it came from my father and then from James Bond.
Well, I think it's good though that you're more, the kind of not monotone, but the classic
Muted.
colors, the
Yeah, yeah,
classic color palette. And
yeah,
if you're watching Sharks broadcast, I kind of will be the other side. We'll balance
yeah,
each other out.
yeah.
I'll throw some colors on there. I like some pocket squares that are a little more flamboyant,
Yeah.
and I'm maybe going to come with some lapel pins this year. So it's a good balance. You can't have everyone just
No,
like Mike Greer says. You can't all be Macklin Celebrinis.
agree.
Though I do think if you had 12 Macklin Celebrinis, you probably are going to win a Stanley Cup.
Good team.
But
Yeah,
but you can't all. We got to mix it up. We got to make sure viewers
exactly.
have
Yeah.
different viewpoints and can see different styles. But the tie knot, that is
Yes.
something that you're very high on. How long does it take you? How many tries a tie? Is it just one done now at this point?
It's pretty much, I'll tell you what I do. So I'm really like, I'm ridiculously OCD when it comes to my suits and my shirts and ties. Um, I will press stuff. I'm a big ironer. Two of my
Mm-hmm.
favorite things in the world is doing laundry and ironing
Yeah.
my stuff. Okay. And you have to have a special iron, and you have to have. Yeah, I'm a big Rowenta guy. Made in It's got to be the made in Germany one. Okay.
Okay.
So those are the ones that
I'll throw mine out. I'll throw mine out.
I press my stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Night before a game, I'll bring the suit out, and then I'll lay a couple of shirts down, like blue or white, or that's basically it. And I'll put the ties with it, and I'll make my pick. I'll also show it to Michelle, my lovely wife, and I'll say, "What do you think?" And she'll go, "I like that tie better," and I'll go with the exact opposite one she says, and it's just what she says, just to piss her off. And then I press the shirt, the suit. I press the suit, press the shirt. The suit gets steamed, of course, and then I tie the tie. Okay.
Yeah.
Night before.
Okay.
And every time I'll tie it, and I usually hit it on the first one, and I say the same thing to Michelle every time. I'll make sure the dimple's perfect. I'll make sure the triangle's the angle's perfect, and it's the right length. And then I'll just take it off and I'll hang it over my shirt, and I'll look at her and go, I don't miss ever. You know what it is, Mick? And I always say this to her. You know what it is, Mick? There's a system. You got to trust the system. And she goes, yeah. We've been together for 42 years.
Yeah.
She's friggin' tired of hearing it from me all the time. She goes, yeah, whatever. Okay. Thank you. Shut up. So that's my process of getting ready. Also, the next day I polish the shoes, clean the shoes, polish the shoes. That's a big thing for me as well. And then I go to the rink. As you know, I don't wear the suit to the rink. I bring it on a hanger in plastic, hang it up. After we have our production meeting, I go and I change. Jonathan Becker, our president, has once in a while walked in while I was changing into our office where he brings guests. And now he just pokes his head and goes, "Are you decent?" And I went, "Oh, I'm dressed." And that's how the whole process works.
The shoes, you don't worry about the shoes getting scuffed, or you don't care?
I don't care. I get
okay. So you just polish every time. All right. And then so a young man trying to get the perfect tie knot. What's your number one key? Is it? I think I heard what you say your number one key is, but is there a key to a perfect knot?
Tight. When you start, I always do a full Windsor. Okay.
Yeah.
Even
me
though
too.
there's a saying, never trust a man in a full Windsor, but that's okay. So I always do the full Windsor. So the first two, when you're coming through, okay, pull it strong, tight. You don't have to be a tight where it's going to stop a bullet, but snug, and then snug again.
All right.
And then everything that when you wrap it, when you start to do the tie, make sure it's snug. Loose doesn't work.
Okay.
Tight. And then once you cinch it up, squeeze it, pinch or poke and pinch.
Okay.
Got your dimple. Got to have a dimple in the middle.
I have no excuses now if my tie is absolutely awful next year, though. I got a decent knot. It's not terrible. It's a decent knot, but I know it could get better. I like the laundry thing with you as well, and ironing. My grandfather and grandma, they had a laundromat in Sunnyvale, and they actually, they had some giants come through, and we have an old ball where it was like the 60s, Willie Mays, Willie McCovey, all those guys, they would come through, and McCormick, forgot his first name, but McCormick was their client, and so I'm a
Incredible.
big. My grandpa had one of the laundromat irons in their house, or pressers. So, but he has his own thing. He's always like, you can't press it too hard. If it's too,
No.
he says, if you go to a cleaner and it comes back too starchy, never go there again. So I've had some words of wisdom when it comes to those type of things in my life, and I've hopefully carried over. Did a lot of retail as well. So hopefully next year we'll come through with some good ties and suits.
Yeah.
But there's the other thing I like to do here on the Mic is Open is do some blind rankings. We've done
Okay.
best Star Wars movies, different sporting events. This one with you is
Okay.
top 5 suits a man should wear, or not should wear, should own in power ranking. Okay. And so we're going to start off, and none of these are crazy colors because I kind of tailored it to you. We'll start with a good old navy suit. From 1 to 5, where would you put a navy suit?
Number 1, 100% number 1. You can wear it for several different occasions. It is versatile as can be, but also classic, sharp. Number 1.
Is it okay if I group this next one, tan and brown, or do they need to be separate?
Tan's different than brown.
All right, we'll
brown
do tan.
Tan. I'm not a big tan guy, basically because of my coloring. And it's so limited. It's so limited in when you can wear it. But I used to have a tan suit way back in '91, and the problem for tan suits is the creases show up too much. Light colored suits, I'm not big on. So that's going to be number even 6 if we're doing. That's down low.
Tan goes to 5. So we've bookended it already. We have 1 and 5.
Okay.
A black suit.
Number 2.
Okay.
Got to have a black suit, man. There's nothing better besides a navy suit with a light blue shirt and a nice dark tie than a black suit. I'm very biased, as you know, but a black suit, that is number 2, and it's like 1A. It is, you got to have it. You get just so many different occasions, but the black suit just is power.
Yeah, it's good. How many do you have black suits? 2. Okay.
Yeah.
And then this
Actually,
one.
I said 2 hesitantly because I've just ordered a new one.
There you go. Hey, it's that time of the year. You got to at least get one fresh one, right, for the year. A pattern suit in whatever color, but to have a pattern suit in your repertoire.
Well, one of my black suits has got a pinstripe in it. The one I just ordered, a gray one that I just ordered, it's got a little bit of plaid in it. It's very subtle, of course, because I'm not like Bret Burns. So I think you've got to put a little bit into it. I would say that goes on number 4.
Okay, number 4. Yeah, I'm never with the solid nothing to it suit. I like a little bit of something. I think it gives a little bit. And then last one is a charcoal suit.
Number 3, absolutely. Now, grays are great. You can, if you're wearing the grays the right way, you could have different color grays, a charcoal one, like a mid gray one, a light gray one, if you're in Florida sometimes. But for me, grays are fantastic. That's another one. I'll give you a little insight into my life that at night, I don't sleep very well, but at night, if I'm out here on the sofa and I'm on the internet, my sons or my wife will come in and go, "You looking at porn again?" And I go, "Yeah." And my porn is 3 things: suits, sneakers, white only, and dress shoes. That's my porn life. So I get deep into some suits. There's one the other day I picked out a Tom Ford I really liked that was only $8,000.
That's holy.
Yeah. So if I work till that 2025 or for 25 more years, I might be able to wear one at the end. But so grays are great. Grays have so much versatility on grays. I saw an Armani one the other day that I really liked. It was just a little bit too much for me.
I think charcoal is an underrated suit. You know, everyone's going navy, black. Those are your 2. But if you get a really good charcoal suit as one of your first suits, it'll go. You can wear it to anything. You could wear it to a wedding. You know, unfortunately, a funeral or whatever you need to do, a birthday. Like a charcoal suit is really good. So to recap your ranking,
go ahead. You brought one up I want to mention.
Yes,
brown.
Okay,
a brown suit.
Okay,
go watch A Quantum of Solace, Daniel Craig, the second James Bond. He wears a brown suit in Bolivia scene that is absolutely gorgeous. Brown. I love brown suits. I got another one that I'm looking at right now that I'm probably going to buy. But before, brown is the color that is very underrated.
So brown is your honorable mention. But if you had to put it into the rankings, where would it go?
Yes.
Where would it go in your rankings
Oh,
if
it
you
would
could
go
squeeze
ahead
it in?
of the tan suit. It would go ahead of the tan suit. It'd be
Okay,
number
okay.
5.
No,
Yep.
all right. So to go back, we got navy, black, charcoal,
Yep.
pattern, and then tan at 5. But if you could drop it down to probably like 10, you'd probably drop it to 10 as well.
Yeah, it would drop to 10. Yeah.
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 Okay. So I've got the blind rankings. I think people will love that. I mean, people know you. They love the suits. So now we're transitioning to another one of your loves that we also have riffed on in our Remenda Rush segments, and that is wrestling. I also know you're an MMA guy. Is wrestling one of those things that it was basically your childhood, something that you've just always kind of gravitated towards, or was it something you found later? But it sounds like it's
Nope.
childhood.
Since I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
In Canada, they showed Stampede Wrestling
Mm-hmm.
every Saturday. And Stampede Wrestling was hosted by the late, great Ed Whalen, who was the voice of the Calgary Flames for a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the Hart family promotion. Stu Hart, the dad of the great, wonderful, big San Jose Sharks fan, Bret the Hitman Hart.
Yeah.
Watched it all the time growing up. And then when WWE kicked in and we got cable TV in Canada, I started watching WWE or WWF at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the first WrestleManias. It was a pay-per-view. I was living in Calgary at the time, so I was in my late 20s by this time. It was at the Saddle Dome. It was closed circuit TV back then.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it wasn't pay-per-view. So I went the first few. I went on closed circuit TV and went and watched them. Always loved wrestling. Always loved the storytelling. Always
Mm-hmm.
loved the characters. I've watched wrestling my whole life.
Yeah, and you're not. So I'm a WWE guy because I just can't. I don't have the bandwidth at the moment with 2 small kids to try and bring in all the other ones with AEW, TNA,
Yep.
which TNA is actually probably going to be bought out by
Yep.
the WWE and everything that's going with that. But you're a professional wrestling fan. Like it's not singular to WWE, right?
Right. Yeah. We've the boys and I have went last year. We went and saw a couple of AEW events. They were in Regina, and then they were in. Oh no, it was 2 years ago. It was in Regina and Saskatoon. Went and saw both of those. I go when they're in San Jose. I go. I'm not as big though as Ryan Sten, our our travel executive, the guy who does
Mm-hmm.
everything for the San Jose Sharks when it comes to travel,
Yeah.
hotels, you name it. Ryan's the man. Ryan is huge. Ryan actually had Bret Hart at his wedding, and I think vice versa too. So Bret
Wow.
Hart, yeah. So
Bret Hart was at the Calgary game last year. I remember we got a shot of him.
yeah.
Yeah.
Bret used to. I think his wife, his new wife is well, not new anymore, but his second wife is from San Francisco, if I remember
Oh,
correctly.
okay.
So after games, he would be downstairs in the room way back when. And one day, I finally had to say something to him.
Yeah.
I finally had to say, "Hey, huge fan,"
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the fanboy on him. And he goes, "Hey," and then I said, "What are you doing?" He goes, my girl's in San Francisco, so I came to see her, but I come to games and everything else." And so he's a big and Bret and Ryan Sten are good friends, but you know those guys when you meet them in real life. I got to meet Edge, Toronto
Mm-hmm.
Maple Leafs
Yeah.
years ago. He needed an elbow pad
Yeah.
because got hurt, and I happened to be the only guy around at the time when they were still setting up, and I got somehow came over to me. One of the guys who runs the building said, "Do we have any extra elbow pads?" So I went and saw Mikey Aldrich. I said, "Do we have any extra elbow pads?" He went, "Yeah." So okay, I took it over and I gave it to the guy at Edge, and then Edge came out to thank me for it. So I met him. I got to interview Bailey last year, which was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm a big wrestling fan. Absolutely love it. And I know everybody says the same thing to me. It's fake, right? It's fake, right? One, it's scripted. Two, take those bumps. Go take
No,
a
they're
couple of bumps. Yeah,
no way. Running into
exactly.
the ropes by itself hurt all
Yeah,
it is like, and that's the thing is like, yeah, it's fake, it's scripted. They're still doing the things. They're just not
yeah,
getting, I mean, sometimes they actually do miss and get punched in the face, which is never fun, but they're still pulling some sorts and like it's it's scripted, but they still got to go out there and do it. And honestly, for me, like the scripted parts are almost more some of the most fun. Like obviously
yeah,
the great wrestling. Like so I went to WrestleMania, as you know, this last year,
yeah.
and the Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, CM Punk triple threat match was
Awesome.
basically the best thing I've ever seen when it comes to wrestling, because it had the storytelling, but it also Seth Rollins is great. Roman Reigns are both really great wrestlers. So it was awesome. But I just don't. I, all your shows you watch are fake. Any show
Yeah.
that you watch on TV is fake. So like it's all scripted. So what's the difference? Except for now, there's actual people throwing things around. So what do you think of kayfabe though? Now they're playing with kayfabe and they're breaking the walls. You have Unreal Doc, but then Seth Rollins used kayfabe to his advantage. So I think they're also trying to start to learn how to use it correctly.
Yeah. I think one of the smartest things that Vince McMahon ever did was that he opened the door to the fact of what's behind the scenes,
Mm-hmm.
which for many of us is good. I don't like scripted behind the scenes though.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I look at some of the things that we're seeing now. I don't want to see a scripted behind the scenes. I want to see what really is going on.
Yeah.
When Brock Lesnar, after he took that hit, well, I can't remember what it was, but then trying to get off the stretcher because he was pissed off and hurt.
Yeah.
You look at the guys breaking character behind the scenes, with when they were trying to all break the Undertaker. You look at Vince after a match at WrestleMania, or now Hunter after a match, and giving the guys a hug, saying thank you very much. That kind of stuff behind the scenes, real behind the scenes, I like. Scripted behind the scenes, I don't want to see that.
Well, that's because the thing with wrestling, you never know how much they're playing a storyline, because that's part of their job, where they're playing a storyline or they're putting something out there so that you or the fan, whoever it is, not you specifically, but is eating that up and saying, oh, this is something, but they're still playing. And sometimes even the actor or the athlete is also playing their role. And so it's kind of hard to know what is real, really unscripted, what is actually behind the scenes, and what they're like talking about. So I'm with you there. I do need to still watch the Unreal documentary because I've just heard such good things about it. So that's probably on my viewing before we get back to season. Once we get back to season, I'll just probably watching the Spark Notes version of it all. But go back and through the little recaps and things like that. I am hoping to maybe make it to WrestleMania again in Vegas. We'll see. Oh, it was awesome.
Was it?
It was awesome. It was
I'll bet it was.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk more about that in person too, because that was a long story. It was maybe the most financially, the greatest financial thing I've ever happened to me, because I ended up getting some great workarounds. So yeah.
Good.
Okay. And now finally, the mic is open. I have a few more minutes with you. Big thing for me is part of this podcast is I wanted to connect with people who are dads. And I know you take it seriously. And I know how much being a grandfather is very important to you.
Greatest thing ever.
And so I want to get to that, and I can't wait to hopefully talk to some of the Sharks this year about being a dad. I know some of them like to be a little more private, but hopefully some will be open about talking about it. But being a dad, when did you realize like that is the best job? Out of everything you've done, that was the best job, and you have found so much gratitude and validation in that?
You know what? Honestly, the last few years, now my daughter is in Edmonton, and she's the mother of Rosalind, my granddaughter, who's 4 now, going into kindergarten on Tuesday. My dad used to say, if I would have known grandkids were so much fun, I would have had them first. Because Rosie is unreal. My sons laugh at me because I like to act like I'm all hard and tough and everything else, but they know that grandpa is soft as can be.
Yeah.
My wife's family every year goes up to a place called Candle Lake. They get RVs and they all get, her whole family, cousins, you name it. For many, many years, I've never had to go because I hate lakes. I hate going to that and that. I just don't, I'm not that guy.
Oh, you don't like Edmonton? That's weird.
Yeah.
News alert.
Yeah, exactly. But the last couple of times I've taken Rosie and Jordan up there, and my boys laugh at me. Okay, Papa, he's soft as can be. They say it started with my bulldog, the late great George, and then it just is transferred to Rosie. But as far as being a dad goes, you're never prepared. You never have all the answers. You hope you do the right thing. There's times when you always love your kids. Always love your kids. Sometimes you don't like them very much.
Yeah, well.
But where I made a mistake as a father, many, 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 many years, I was away in San Jose while they were here in Saskatoon. and I'd never do that ever again, ever.
Yeah.
Financially, it was just certain things that it was not the right thing to do. So the number one dad advice I'd say is always be there for your kids. Now, I'm very, very lucky. My kids have turned out fantastic. But as far as when did I know that this was the right thing to do, or the right or the best thing in my life? My boys still live here with me. I won't let them leave. Because Michelle and I come down, we leave the house empty for 8 months. So they stay here and they take care of the house.
Yeah.
But people have always said you can't be friends with your kids. I disagree with that.
Yeah.
When they're growing up, when they're little kids, of course not. Your dad, right? You've got to be the authority figure. You got to sometimes be scary, you know. But now, at 28 years old, these are the two best people I know. Yeah. We're friends with them. We go out for dinner. We have talks. Like my sons will say, Drewski. They haven't called me dad since grade 9. Call me Drew or Drewski or old man. But Drewski, let's go for something to eat. And we'll just sit and talk, and we'll talk about if they've got issues, they'll tell me. And the men that they've turned out to be has been nothing but a source of pride for me. They are. I couldn't have asked for better sons, Alan.
Yeah.
Jordan was trouble. Jordan was work. Jordan had a lot of issues growing up, and she won't mind me saying she fought like hell against doing everything that she should have been doing to make herself right. But now she's turned into the woman I always hoped she'd be. She is a great mom. She's got her life together. She has gone through a lot of tough times, like a lot of young women do these days.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough out there, especially with growing up with things that I didn't have to grow up with. But she battled through. She came out bright on the other side. She got this wonderful little girl. And so when I look at Jordy, I always look and go, man, that's one tough kid. I didn't think she was, but she was. And she got through all the tough times. So I think now is when I look at being a dad where I go, yeah, I'm sure glad I was able to do it.
So I only got to wait like 30 more years to get there. We'll be okay. We'll be all right. But I think it's, obviously you want to go back and maybe make a different transition there when you were in San Jose and they're back. But I think it goes to show just the way that you and Michelle have raised them, that they are in a good place now. And that's something you could take solace in, is that, everyone's going to not get parenting right. Like, I think that's the number one thing, is if you think you're going to be a perfect parent or even like a good parent all the time, that's not going to happen. But once you see kids grow up and who they become, that's got to be the most gratifying part of this whole process. Because that means that, hey, way back 20 years ago, something worked.
Yeah, absolutely. And, there are times where your kids will tell you, you're a terrible parent. There will be. But at the same time, like I said, you try to deal everything from a place where I love this person. I love my child. Sometimes, like I said, I don't like them very much, but you just keep trying to do the right thing for them. And sometimes, it gets to be a little bit heavy, but other times when you see them now and you see what the people that they've turned into be and who they are, every once in a while, and by the way, Michelle did all the work.
Yeah. I hear, like, it's, once we get into the season, I'll be gone a lot more nights and things like that. The off season's different, and my wife will take a lot more of the heavy load. So you also have to make sure your partner is strong-willed and can carry all the weight that it takes, especially when you're in a job that demands so much of you and so much of your time, and time is basically all our currency. And so hopefully that you don't run out too soon. And so I just love the conversation. I love hearing people's story. I think it's great. And I think it's good to have out there, because, sometimes it's hard to open up as fathers and things like that and do those things. Last one, before I let you go, I know we got to wrap this thing up. Hockey dads, what's your best advice if you want your kid to love hockey and go maybe as far as they're able to go? What's your number one piece of advice for hockey dads?
Support them, be honest, but be positive, and make sure It's what they want,
Mm-hmm.
not what you hope they want. I have a problem with 365-day a year hockey dads now and hockey players,
Mm-hmm.
but I understand the pressures. But if you look at the players who make it to the top, less than 1%, it's a hard, hard road. Be there for them. Don't coach them after the game. Now, I remember watching my kids very rarely because they played when I was away, but watched one game and we came home after it was a tournament, came home after the game. And as we were driving back, Donovan said, "Any words, Drewski?" I went, "No, none. You guys, you played your asses off, didn't win, but you played hard, played smart. No." And Davis said, "You never say anything negative about us." I said, "Well," I said, "I got nothing negative to say." I said, "I'm honest."
Yeah.
But let them play. Let them find their we talked about joy, let them find that joy wherever it may be. If it happens to be where they don't play hockey and they want to go play football, good for you. But from a hockey dad point of view, don't be that dad or that hockey parent who's with the other hockey parents running everything down. Be positive, be upbeat. Kids playing hockey, let them play. As Igor Larionov said, we play hockey, we don't work hockey.
Look at that. A perfect ending. You landed the ship. You never miss. You never miss. Just came right down. Oh, man, that was glorious. Oh, Drew, thanks so much for coming on. The mic is open. I can't do any better. So we're just going to get out of here and we'll talk soon. Season's coming up. I'll see you in San Jose.